So thank you for coming. My name is Jenn Ballentine. I'm based in Decatur, Georgia, and I'm the president of Highland Nonprofit Consulting. And I'm just going to talk with you briefly about collaborating with other consultants to grow your skills and business. So let me see what's going on there. Okay. I have collaborated with a number of different types of consultants, not just evaluation consultants, but also grant writing, strategic planning, and other types of nonprofit consultants. And that has helped me to really, grow my business in a lot of different ways, to get some contracts and work that I might not have otherwise gotten, and to learn some new skills and expand kind of my skill set in some ways. So for example, I'm collaborating with a strategic planning consultant right now, and kind of learning how do you do strategic planning. In the past, I collaborated with a nonprofit consultant who was actually working for a for-profit company. That was a new one for me, but they have a charitable giving arm, and they wanted to evaluate sort of the impact of their investments in that area. So they these consultants they were working with brought me in because they didn't know evaluation, and brought me in to help with that. So that was definitely a new development for me, not having worked in the for-profit arena. So what are the benefits? Really, new skills and knowledge, not only in terms of my practice. I collaborate with Dr. Wolf, with Dr. Price, with some other independent consultants who are part of AEA, and I've learned so many things from all of them about sort of how they do their work, and not just that, but also how do they run their businesses? What kinds of contracts and scopes of work and management tools do they use? So we can share and learn from each other, which has been super beneficial. And that's helping to strengthen my own organizational capacity, but also the capacity of the nonprofits that I work with. So for example, in this strategic planning collaboration that I'm doing right now, how many of you have seen strategic plans and you're like, who wrote these outcomes? These outcomes stink, right? Because strategic planning consultants may not understand how to write smart outcomes. So I'm helping to craft smart outcomes in consultation with the organization and the strategic planning consultant, and we're really helping to bring and strengthen their capacity and sort of bring that added value. So that's been beneficial for everyone, a win-win for me, for the organization. And some of the other things are, it's been helpful to me in terms of getting new relationships. So for example, most often with grant writing consultants, they might have a connection with an organization that I don't know. They bring me in to be there to help strengthen the evaluation component of the application, to be written in as the evaluator. They get the grant, and then I serve as the evaluation consultant on the grant, and I now have a new partner in relationship with an organization through that other consultant. So those are some of the benefits. I do say it's a little bit sometimes like walking on a tightrope. You got to kind of maintain your center of gravity, your balance. Susan's laughing, she can identify, because you have your flow and how you do things, but you have to kind of adapt to how other people do things when you're working with them, and everyone does things differently. And so, but how do you maintain your center and what's important to you, and balance kind of, all of the ways in which people work and you work. So it definitely is so beneficial because it's so much more fun. We have so much more fun working together, don't we? And it can be lonely. So, and it's nice to have bounce ideas off of each other and be like, oh, you do it that way? Oh, I never thought about that. Or, oh, wow, that's interesting, and learn from each other. But just, managing your own workflow as well. So I'm going to skip over these. These are some of the things I've already talked about, and get to kind of things you need to consider when collaborating with other consultants. So, ethics, like, are you on the same page? Do you have the same values? Do they have, going to be comfortable working with this person, ensuring that they have the same high quality standards of work that you do. And people are asking, well, how do you vet people? And, I don't have like a checklist or anything. It's more about getting to know people, having conversations, maybe seeing some of their work, or you do a little bit of work for them. They, you know, or they do some work for you, and you see what you can, you know, what you think, and if you're comfortable with that. And definitely, as Susan just pointed out, can be useful for filling in where you're less strong, and you know, where everyone kind of has different strengths and areas for improvement. Is that how we call it? So it's nice to collaborate and you know, capitalize on those strengths and learn from each other. But some of the things that I think we've learned, and you know, Susan and Ann and I are collaborating on a project. Another consultant who's joined us today, Colleen, and I collaborate. You know, are just sort of setting out the roles and responsibilities up front, right? Who's going to be responsible? Who's the point of contact for the client? Who's going to be responsible for what? You know, what is your role? You know, in terms of communication, with the client, who's going to be that person, et cetera. You know, who gets copied on the committee, simple things like that, who gets copied on the communications, because you just want to make sure everyone's on the same page and utilizing the same approach, and, you know, sorting that out as close to the beginning as possible, with, you know, allowing some flex. Obviously things shift, as we all know, but I think that's helpful. And then, you know, communicate, and I have some graphics, but communication and management approaches are also something to think about, like, you know, what's your style of communication? Not just with the client, but like internally. Let's have some check-ins. Let's, you know, see how things are going. Let's, you know, after so many emails, we're going to pick up the phone. And that's what Ann always says, right? You know, like, we want to keep those lines of communication open, because otherwise, you know, we're all speaking different languages, and how are we making sure we're on the sort of same page? And this can be even when you're, especially, you know, pronounced when you're working with different kinds of consultants that aren't evaluators. You know, they're really like, they're in their grant writing world or their strategic planning world. How do you got, you know, kind of mesh those two and come to sort of an agreement, you know? And then, you know, what is your project management style, right? Some people want to do a change order at the smallest change. Other people are like, we'll let that one go, but if it gets to this point, then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to, you know, put something in writing. Or, you know, it's just, you know, how do you like to handle those types of, you know, shifts in scope, or just project management. And then another thing, you know, so like I'm working with several different consultants right now, and each one has their own time management system and project management system. And then I have my own, you know, so it's like, I got to go into that system to do that. I got to go into this system to do that. So you got to think about, like, you know, it can become time consuming. So you got to think about what's, you know, what's in it for you, or how willing are you to sort of, you know, work with all of those different systems and different folks in terms of, you know, and versus your own work, and how you, you know, manage your own projects. So I think, you know, clearly benefits to collaborating. I love it. And just things to be mindful of. So that's all I have. Anyone have any questions, thoughts, comments? Things they want to share about the, you know, successes or challenges they've had in collaborating with others? No, everyone's tired and done. I actually really need to scoot. I know, I think it's 2 anyways. How many minutes do we have left in this session, Susan?
I just closed the breakout. So
okay, awesome.
If nobody has questions, I think you're okay. Thank you so much, Jen.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Susan. I apologize that I got to run, but I've got another call. So, okay, take care. Okay, bye.
Bye.
And I think most people are just going to leave.
There we go. Well, whoever's left here, especially the presenters, I want to thank you all for this. For those who don't realize it, this is very grueling if you're a presenter, because you're presenting your stuff over and over and over again. And it's like, by the 6th session, you're like, I can't say this again. So thank you very much to the presenters. And for those who have hung in here and are still here, thank you so much for attending and staying through the entire session. It's much appreciated. And we'll see you next year live and in person.